an amazing instrument. It has developed into an incredible voice in today's music. So many types of guitars, so many styles of playing, all sorts of gear. How does one make their voice be heard as a guitarist? My name is Jeff Floro, and welcome to All About Guitar, where we talk tone, we talk technique, we talk gear. Where we discover how we can become better musicians in a world of constantly changing technologies. Where we take a good look at everything guitar, and sometimes not exactly guitar, but just as important, so we can be more successful as a musician in today's music scene. So sit back and relax, and let's explore all about guitar. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to All About Guitar. We have a great show for you tonight. Tonight I have the Rob Morrow band on, and Rob was going to be here, but he got caught up. He's directing a show called Games People Play that's on the BET network. Right. And they had something that they had to do, and it was a last minute thing, and he was sorry not to be able to come down, but we got the rest of the band, or most of the band here. My guests are, he's been here many times before, Carlos Calvo on guitar, who plays guitar.
Thank you. We have everyone named Carlos in the band. That's pretty great, right?
Yeah, there's two Carloses here.
Yeah, so
and then Carlos Costa is the bass player for the Rob Morrow band. And they kind of play together. They're actually play as a trio together. The drummer is
Alex Gonzalez. They call him Gonzo. He's a beast. Great. LA native. I just recently saw an Instagram post of him backing his parents' like funk R&B band playing Madame Wong's East when he's 7 years old.
I remember Madame Wong's.
Remember Madame Wong's? Yeah, you're welcome for that little trip. You're welcome.
And I want to thank, they're sitting on the sidelines. You might not see him on camera, but Rob Evanoff, who put this together. It's great to have you here. And my other friend, Ron Herbrand, who remembers Madame Wong's many years ago. So anyway, what I'm going to do real quick, because I wanted to, he brought down, I talked to Carlos this morning. He said, I got this pedal board that I designed for acoustic guitar. Do you want me to bring it down? I'm like, sure. Twist my arm. It's not a big deal. Let's do it. Yeah. So what I did is I had him put it on the table, but he's going to need it a little bit later. So why don't really, before I get into the Rob Morrow band and the music, I want to just go through this real quick, and then so he can put it back down so he can use it for demoing. But tell us a little bit about this guy. This is interesting.
Yeah, it actually doubles as my electric and acoustic rig. So I wanted to just put together the most kind of versatile pedal board I could. But acoustic-wise, the main highlight for me are those radial preamps. I use it for EQ and for notching out frequencies, and so to me it just creates. There's no gig that preamp can't handle. At least so far.
With Rob, are you using both acoustic and electric?
Yes.
And you're using the same preamp?
Yes.
So how do you change? I mean, it must be a radical difference between the electric guitar.
Well, the preamp with acoustic, I just use it as a DI out, so it has an XLR out, whereas through with the electric, I run the quarter-inch out into my amp. So
both of those are set up as is.
Yeah.
And you basically don't mess with the tone bone. He's using a tone bone.
Yeah, the radial tone bone. Yeah, awesome.
So it's basically everything else, what you're getting out of, besides the pedals themselves, what you're using tone-wise is the rest of it's in the amp.
For sure, yes, exactly right.
Okay.
And I have to give a shout-out to TC Electronics. I use both their flashback and Hall of Fame reverb.
Same here.
Pedal. You do? Great, right? At the lovely people over at the Tribe Studios. They do Behringer and Bugera amps, and they TC Electronic pedals. Shout out to them. They're just wonderful. And they let me do some videos. I do some videos over there with them, and I get to have a little fun with some of their amazing pedals. They're great reverb and delay pedals. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I love the Hall of Fame, and it's small enough. It gets the sounds, and their flanger. I use the flanger, and it has the 0 through, so that's the real cancellation, like the old Hendrix reel-to-reel tape flange, because most of them don't go all the way through and actually cancel out.
Huh.
So that's why, it's called 0 flanging.
I'm already so glad I came tonight. That was awesome. That was just a delicious piece of
little
gear.
trivia.
You're amazing, man.
Anyway, the let's talk a little bit about the signal flow, and and then we'll let you take your pedal board back.
So obviously, I have a couple of like overdrive pedals that I don't use for acoustic gigs too much, but those end up being at the beginning of my signal chain, and then I go into then I go into tremolo, and the upper right pedal is a TC Electronic Crescendo pedal that apparently Eric Johnson is a huge fan of. It does some really cool swells. You can set it to different sensitivities.
That one there.
That's correct.
Okay.
And then I have the delay and the
that's the flashback.
Flashback and the Hall of Fame reverb. This flashback has the cool it's the second generation flashback. So it's that button is not only an on-off switch. You could hold it down to get different modulating effects, like a wah-wah. It has a sensitivity to it.
Yeah.
So you could get some pretty. I mean, we could demo it later if you want.
Take a look.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy effects.
So then you have down here.
And then I end with a looper, because when I play acoustic, I do a bunch of loops, and
this is a Boss RC30.
The classic Boss RC30. I just like those little soft pedals. They feel nice on my feet.
Okay, then you have here the TC Tremolo.
TC Tremolo. So that's a discontinued one. Remember West LA Music? That, RIP West LA Music. That was their going away sale. Had to pick it up, and it was great. I use it so much. Hit it.
That's nice.
And I love it on acoustic too.
Yeah.
Carlos will attest.
Sounds really good. You can hear it on the clips from the band.
Yeah, I will attest that I use plenty of trem, even with acoustic.
And this guy.
That's the Love pedal. That's my overdrive pedal. I think it's. I don't want to, I don't want to offend anyone. I think it's not too different from the OCD pedal. It's a pretty classic overdrive. It's great. Again, really versatile. Great for sessions. I could just have a screaming drive, or have just a very subtle, warm overdrive. And next to that is the MXR, my old micro amp. I think I got that in high school, and it's just very few things have sounded better to me than that pedal.
That's a cool little.
It's so cool. One knob, one button. I can handle that.
Are you using it as an overdrive?
Yeah.
Okay.
With just a little overdrive, a little boost. It just fattens it up.
So, and then he has the chromatic tuner.
Yes, the Cro-Magnon tuner.
Cro-Magnon. So anyway, okay, I'm going to let him put the pedal board down so that he can use it. We'll talk about his guitars in a minute. And what I'm going to play now is one of their big songs from the upcoming album, which should be, if I'm correct, at the end of summer, fall, close to fall. It'll be coming out.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And this is, I think, is the first. Was this the first release, Tyranny of Beauty?
Yes.
Second release.
Yes. Good.
Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is while they're pulling this down, I'm going to play the clip. It's a lengthy clip. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the recording of it and the guitars that he used and everything. So here you go. Now, great song, just a great song. And I had to play that whole thing where you're doing all the fills, taking it out. I mean, just too cool. But what I want to talk a little bit about is this arrangement, because there's a lot of stuff happening. There's the Wurlitzer electric piano, and it gets pretty full, but it's still clear. You know what I mean? It doesn't get cluttered. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the approach to this in terms of how did the arrangement come about?
Yeah.
And then also what I want to ask is, how do you do that live?
Yeah. So remember that little looper we were? We kind of do. But we no longer play with a keyboard player live, so it has a little bit of a different feel. I think that we're bringing the long outro back. Come on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's great.
But I think that happens to be Heartbreakers drummer Steve Ferroni playing on that, and so he just kind of kept going. The click was running, and he just decided to change feels and grooves, and so we kind of kept playing, and it turned into a little bit of a kind of a reflective jam, kind of a quiet jam.
So what were you using there? I know that if you saw me pointing, he has his Gretsch here, which he got just after the last time you were on the show.
I know.
So he was showing that, and it's like I had it when he called today to ask what to bring down. I said, "Got to bring the Gretsch just to show it because it's so cool." But what were you using guitar wise in there? What was going on in there?
Yeah, I was using this Gretsch. It's like a kind of a 62 reissue duo.
Go ahead and
jet.
bring it up so they can see it.
Let's pull that thing up.
And explain what you, because this is a beautiful guitar.
Yeah, it's nice. It I was just looking for a kind of I was experimenting. I've been doing some more session work lately and was looking for something other than single coil pickup and a humbucking pickup. I was trying guitars that had P90s and these TV Jones pickups, and I just fell in love with them because they're so quiet, but they're formidable. They're not like crazy Seymour Duncan humbucker, but they just have so much tone, and they capture so much of the tone of the guitar to me. This guitar only comes in gold hardware. I never fancied myself to be a gold hardware kind of guy. It's kind of blingy, but I love it. I think it's great. It plays great. It has a couple chambered sections, so it's not brutally heavy. It's really comfortable to play.
Now it's interesting you're using that bridge, which was on my I have a Country Gentleman that has that, but I took it off and put a Tunematic because it was do you have any difficulty keeping the intonation?
Yeah, a little bit. I definitely have to get it set up. It stays in tune great, but I could feel, and it depends on the set of strings. I had a set of strings like 2 sets ago where the intonation went away pretty quickly, and then I put new strings on, and it kind of.
Because it's interesting, his guitar, if you show it, you can lift it up a little bit. If you look at the bridge, it's like an acoustic bridge. It's not mounted like if you saw like an SG or a Les Paul, it's not mounted into the wood. So when you bend, does it lose?
No.
Does it move?
No.
That's interesting.
No, it doesn't.
Because on my Nashville, it moves when you bend.
Yikes!
Can't do that kind of bending.
Ooh, that would be bad.
But the thing is that
pardon me,
for the most the TV Jones, to me, that type of pickup, the Filtertron, it's a little mellower than a P90.
Exactly.
But it has a more tone. Yeah, it has the tone.
And the P90s were. I was looking at some of the Collins electrics. Like I was interested in their Les Paul. I think it's the 290 double cutaway. It's like a Les Paul special double cutaway. Great, amazing guitar. They just, they're still single coil pickups, so they're still, for the sessions I was doing, that they're a little bit noisy. And
yeah, well, I've seen that with I have a Les Paul double cutaway with the P90s, and it's a really bitey sound, aggressive. This, I think, gives you a little more flexibility, and you're doing like that thing. The tone is real mellow.
Versatile. Yeah, really chill tone, but it could get quite.
Yeah, you can dig into it.
You can dig in, and it's great.
Now, what amp did you use with this when you were doing it?
That section I was using, I have a Vox AC15 hand wired that I used for that, and I don't know, that amp just records great. It's a little less versatile for me because that's one of the Vox models that doesn't come with reverb or with trem.
Yeah.
But for recording, it's amazing. It's pretty great. It has the Celestian Blue Alnico speaker in it, so that's it's that classic kind of chimey Vox sound that we all love. Right?
Yeah, the blue is a nice tone.
Blue is nice.
But what do you use live? Now, how do you do that live?
Live, I use my kind of workhorse amp is an old Fender Tweed Blues Deluxe. It looks more vintage than it is, but I think it's about 20 years old, 25 years old, something like that.
So that's a 20 watt?
It's a 30 watt.
30 watt.
And I've treated it poorly, so it sounds really good. You know, amps are just like people.
Amp abuse.
The worse you treat them, the more loyal they are.
Now, I have to mention, this was told to me, so I want to ask you a little bit about this, that you guys are, you got a couple of amps at the show?
We did, yeah. I mean, I have to say, without Rob Evanoff's help, that would have been a tough deal. But Rob Morrow and I were at, and Rob Evanoff, we're playing a festival in Chicago the summer before last. Carlos Costa was also with us. And we took a little field trip to the Chicago Music Exchange. I don't know if you've heard of that music store too. And I think they own reverb.com as well.
Right.
They're massive. And we started playing these Magnetone stereo amps, and Rob he lost his mind. It's the tone is crazy. And I think they're an 80-year-old company, which is extraordinary, like almost World War I technology. Really great. And so he's just had his mind set on them, and he wasn't able to make it to NAMM this year. And so Rob Evanoff and I stopped at the off at the Magnetone booth, and we fired up their Twilighter, and like, woo, the tone. And it's you know what NAMM's like. It's just you can't hear anything. This amp cut through everything. This amp was so easy to hear, which I couldn't believe.
How many watts is it?
It's might be, I don't know, I'd be making up a number. I think it's like 40, yeah, I think. I just got it, so I don't even have all the specs on it. I just picked it up.
How many power tubes does it have?
I don't know. I haven't inspected that. I just barely fired up. My daughter loves the knobs too. They're so smooth. She just sits plays with them. I'm not kidding. She loves them.
Oh, that's interesting. And I'm curious to see. Well, we'll have to hear more about it.
We're going to bring that one in.
Yeah, I want to hear what speakers are in there and the tone.
Yeah, it's great. And they have this beautiful, they call it vibrato. It's trem. It comes with a pedal, so you can manually control the speed of the trem. And it has a detune option, so it gives a little like modulation, chorusy vibe on the trem as well. And the reverb is just luscious. It's crazy.
Oh wow! Okay,
really beautiful. Like beautiful iteration of a very straight ahead combo vacuum tube guitar amplifier.
Right. I assume you're going to use that this weekend.
I don't know. I mean, I'm very funny about things. That the way I have to have them dialed in for me.
Yeah,
so
I hear you.
I gotta see.
But like Nike, I just say do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
And that that
we'll talk about that gig in a minute.
Yeah, the Fender Tweed, you literally just set it up. Plug it in, and
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
So
that's
it's great
cool.
for a lot. But yeah.
So, but anyway, what other was that the only guitar you're using? Because there's several guitar parts.
Well, this track was produced by Steve Postel, great guy, amazing musician, and he had been working with and is working with Danny Korchmar. They have this great band together, and their G&L guitars happen to be laying around the studio. He's like, hey, why don't you double that track with Danny's guitar? And I played Mr. Korchmar's.
He has a Doheny.
His G&L Doheny. Woo! Pretty good.
You like
Pretty
that?
Sweet. Yeah,
That's
I liked
a
it
great
a lot.
guitar.
I liked it a lot.
Really versatile, and it's powerful enough to get you that humbuckers.
Exactly. You think you think you're looking at a Jazz Master, which is of course a great guitar, but man, that guitar has got a little something under the hood.
Yeah, no, it's a great guitar. They're great guys anyway,
and they are great guys, and everyone has the same things to say about the guys at G&L, and they make great instruments. I love them.
Yes, you got to check out that Doheny. So anyway, that was that other guitar. Was there any other guitars in there acoustically?
We used I played my Martin D28. It's like a 20-year-old D28. I think I told you the story of that one before, and that just records really solid, straightforward, classic American dreadnought acoustic guitar, and just did one pass and it sounded pretty good.
Oh, very cool. Well, speaking of acoustic guitars, I'll let you put that down. And this, I presume, is your live guitar.
It is. This is the.
Which is it's a beautiful guitar.
This is a bourgeois banjo killer. It's bourgeois' version of. It's called the banjo killer.
Banjo killer,
which is awesome.
So what's the back and sides?
This is a slope-shouldered dread, kind of like the J45. I believe the top is Sitka spruce, bear claw spruce, and the back and sides are koa, bear claw koa. So.
Bear claw.
Yeah,
Sitka.
so the bear claw is all, just gives it that lovely, just look, like liquidy finish to it.
Bear claw. So that's koa. That's an interesting sound.
Yeah, it's a
bear claw koa back and sides. I'm writing all this down so I remember it.
And I got to say hi to Dana Bourgeois at the NAMM show. That's always wonderful to meet the guys that build these guitars.
So that shape is called a slope-shouldered dreadnought?
It is, yeah.
Interesting.
And that same as a Gibson J45. That's...
Oh, okay. A J45. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and this, what's the pickup in this thing?
This is the LR Bags, and I have to say it's...
The two with the microphone and the piezo?
No, I think it's just a...
What's the control? Is there two knobs on there?
Yeah, there's a kind of volume and tone.
There's a blend,
and the button is like a bass reducer. If it gets
okay, but I mean the second knob isn't a blend.
No, I don't think so. No,
because usually that second one,
maybe
is that an anthem? If it's an anthem, it might have the two.
I don't know, man.
Because the microphone's on the bottom of the bridge.
Yeah, is it?
What is it? It just has, but it has the two knobs, right?
Cool.
I'm pretty sure that's a two mic.
Cool. Thanks for letting me know, man.
Because the microphone gives you that darker sound.
Yes.
And then the piezo gives you the bright. So
it is really balanced, and no guitar pickup really sounds like an acoustic guitar. But this comes pretty darn close. It sounds, the overtones are there, and it sounds just really natural.
Well, let's play a little bit of it. Just show us a little bit of what it does.
Yeah. So you could hear, for my particular style, I like to kind of hit attack single note wise, and has this really beautiful mid range that kind of that really kind of holds up to the kind of attack.
And he's using. You're picking him up. He's playing. The microphone's picking up the acoustic sound, but he has a little amp behind him.
It's an AER. They're
AER amp.
A Cube 60. It's just I've never heard a better acoustic guitar amp in my life.
And so he's using
Carlos
that to.
Costa agrees.
I agree wholeheartedly.
It's just crazy sound.
Well, since let's do something real quick.
Yeah.
Since we were talking about the upcoming album, if it's okay, I know we don't have the vocals because Rob's not here, but let's maybe give me a little sneak peek of what the new stuff that's not recorded yet or it's being recorded.
Yeah. Rob and I wrote this song that we're super excited about. It's one of these songs that started with a riff, so it's guitar heavy. So of course I dig it, and we had a lot of fun with it. And then when we got together with Carlos and Alex, it really came together first time we played it in rehearsal, right, Carlos? It just sounded.
It was just. You'll hear the riff. It grooves pretty hard, so
it
was pretty easy for us to just jump in.
Yeah.
and just play along and have it sound good right away.
Okay.
Want to try a little bit?
Give us like a minute and a half of it.
3, 1.
And
Very
and
cool.
and on and
Very-
on in that manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a nice riff. I like
It's cool,
that.
right?
I like
It's
that.
fun. It's classic bluesy rock thing.
When you're doing it on the recording, are you using electric, or are you doing both acoustic and electric?
No, electric for sure.
Electric.
That's yeah. These next two songs we recorded with my buddy Paul Smith. He's an amazing engineer producer.
Mm-hmm.
Worked at Capitol Recording for 7 years, and his dad is Don Smith, which I'm sure you've produced. Worked with Cracker, Keith Richards, Fleetwood Mac, Tom Petty.
Mm-hmm.
He's recorded some Traveling Wilburys.
Oh, there you go.
Just a few of those guys. And he has a pretty cool amp collection. And for some of the, like that trem that we talked about that we love, he has this vintage Ampeg reverb rocket. Ooh, that amp is insane. That is a crazy amp. It's so good. It's
Ampegs, the old Ampegs
the
are
old
cool.
amp. This thing looks, I don't even know. It looks like an early sort of ice box,
Mm-hmm.
but like with like a 1959 Ford interior upholstery.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a crazy amp, but it sounds nuts.
Those old Ampegs, they're definitely a find,
They are.
and they're back again. I think Yamaha owns them now.
Oh, cool.
So
That makes me happy. I love when that happens.
Yeah.
when they're bringing old amazing.
I think it was
brands
Yamaha.
back.
I think Yamaha has
Yeah,
them. So.
yeah, it is Yamaha.
That
So
is
it's-
Yamaha?
Yeah.
Yeah, a guy I play with works for them over there.
Cool.
Well, since you mentioned that,
Uh-huh.
let's talk a little bit about what you use.
Speaking
Now
of Ampeg.
you were
Speaking of
yeah. Let's talk about what you use live and what you've used in the new sessions.
Okay. In the new sessions, I've so far only used this bass that I have today, which is a Fender USA Elite jazz bass. It's got the noiseless pickups,
Mm-hmm.
switch for active passive.
Mhm.
I pretty much exclusively use it passive. It's a great bass. I love the string through the body. I love that.
Oh wow,
feel.
you have the string. Okay.
Yeah, it's great. It's got the extra deep cutaway, so I can get the higher notes.
And he does.
And I
Flip,
do.
flip it around so they can
Oh,
see
yeah.
this. So he has the cutaway there. Okay. Oh, there.
Extra deep.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Let me take a picture of that. Let's see right there.
So, and since they did that, they added a fifth bowl in there
Yeah.
for stability. But yeah, you get up these high notes, you don't have to struggle to get up here. It just feels really.
And that's
comfortable.
active, right? I saw the battery compartment in the
Yeah,
back.
it's active. There's a switch for active passive. I don't use the active really. I stick on passive. If for some weird reason someone asks me to solo, then I'll switch it to that.
Yeah.
See how he is?
And then it's just a little extra boost. But I love the way it sounds in passive. So
And you're
I pretty
using
much-
here, you brought in an SWR Baby Blue.
Yeah, Baby Blue SWRs were my favorite amps. I have this. I have a couple of the basic blacks and a redhead, a super redhead. But unfortunately, SWR is no longer with us, so
Maybe someone will bring
I can't
them
really have
back.
those anymore.
I think
And
they're owned by Fender, right? Or they were.
They
bought
were,
by-
but then they're just. I think they're
Yeah,
just gone
they
now.
might just show up.
They
You never
might.
know.
They might.
But do you use this in the studio or do you go direct?
I usually just go direct in the studio. Yeah.
Okay.
Although this preamp sounds really nice for recording. I have used it on occasion, but for the most part, I just go direct.
Now, what do you use live?
Live, I tend to just use straight up SVTs.
Oh, wow.
Whatever.
He's a bad
whatever
boy.
the gig is.
And by the way, Rob Morrow does ask him to solo pretty frequently.
Occasionally,
because the results
occasionally I
are
will.
usually mind-boggling. Carlos is a
It's usually
He's a
like
beast.
it's as much notice as he looks at me and says solo.
But when the gig is done and you're like trying to get your stuff off the stage, does everybody disappear with those SVTs?
Well, the SVTs, you know,
I do. No.
what's been really
They're
sweet
heavy.
Playing with Rob is that you know our guardian angels SIR show up, they bring everything, they set it up for us.
Oh, so you you rent.
And
So
I just unplug and walk away, so that's nice.
yeah.
My personal gear is all in storage. I haven't had to use it for 2 years now.
Yeah,
Thankfully.
luckily the gigs we've been playing have great backlines and or cartage that bring
Right.
in stuff that
Now, do you bring your own amp or do you?
I do, because I'm weird.
No, it's not-
right. It's the
no.
guitar player thing, though, right,
Yeah,
Jeff? I
yeah.
mean, you're the same way, right? Like you just
I'll
kind of
bring.
have.
I
that
like my
tone,
deluxe. I mean, I'll bring
Yeah.
my deluxe
You
down.
know?
Because as a bass player, I can dial in my sound pretty
Yes.
quickly on any amp. But for guitar, there's a million moving parts. So
There's
Well,
the
when you're
key,
using distortion from the amp and you're overdriving the amp, that's definitely. I mean,
Sure.
Yes.
bass is primarily clean. Most
Right.
guys might overdrive a little bit, but usually they'll use a pedal.
Yeah.
So it's when you backline with a clean system, and a lot of people have told me this because of the problems with backline. They basically want the amp clean. They get all the dirt and stuff out of their
Pedals,
pedals.
yeah.
But I know what you're talking about. When you overdrive an amp, right? That's the sound, and you know that amp and that guitar,
Yeah.
it responds a certain way. You're
Exactly.
moving air, you're distorting the tubes, you're compressing, all of that
And the
stuff.
response to your attack again, like I feel the best players that I have seen or admired, in my opinion, have like this thing, like almost like microdynamics, like from one note to the next. They do minimal changes in dynamics one way or the other, and it just keeps their articulation and the interest in their phrases. That's so high. You know, they're not playing everything exactly the same velocity or
Yeah.
intensity, and they're doing it usually, I think, at that point, unconsciously.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of taste and feel.
Well, I've noticed in your playing from hearing the stuff that you brought last time and when you came on the show last time, and there's a lot of dynamics in your playing,
Yeah.
and it's not just, it's just not a blaze of just notes at a certain level. You get subtle, you get,
it's
you'll
musical,
attack, you'll
right?
get aggressive, and there's a change in the tone. Even in that last
Yes.
clip, you can hear from what he did in that middle bridge and then what he did taking out in the vamp, there's differences in the tone, and it's a different sound. So you're getting color from the same instrument, same
Right.
amp, but it's how you're playing it.
Right, and those changes in attacks, the way they affect a tube amp, right?
Right.
Just in the tone, those little micro changes in tones.
Well, speaking of changes and tones, let's play this other clip. This is called the New Face, right?
It is.
And there's some interesting stuff. There's nylon guitar in here. I think there's steel string acoustic, and then there's some weird effects in there that I have to ask you about. So let's play the clip, and then let's talk about what you guys did.
Has taken your place. I can't find you anymore. You blend right into a crowded field. They all look the same, thinking it's a power that they wield. What has happened that makes us give up on ourselves? Things that make us special get lost in the game of stealth.
love the dirty record scratch at the end. That was
Yeah.
cool. Now, there's a lot going on in that.
There is.
So you have the classical guitar doing kind of a rumba samba type of
Right,
thing.
yeah, exactly. A little samba, a little bossa
That's
nova.
you,
That's
right?
me.
And that's which guitar we're using there?
That I was using, I think I was using my trusty Takamine. It's a 80s, mid 80s Takamine. I'm about to do a big guitar nerd name drop, but happened to be, it was a gift from Al Di Meola.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's great. It has amazing pickup. The pickups, and that was mic'd, but just as a side note, the pickups that they made in those guitars that day are incredible.
Now, do you use that live, that classical?
No, we do it electric. Well, Rob plays 12-string acoustic on it, and it's cool. Our live interpretation. He wanted to, he wrote this. He had this idea for this song, and we'd written. But lyrically, Rob really took over on this song, as he really does. He's a very creative guy, and working with him is great because of that. Any of the I don't know if you could guess what the new face is. It's about maybe people, exchanging their face for a new one, kind of a thing in L.A. and other places, and it's fun. It's just fun, and he wanted to go in a very pop direction, so we used a whole different producer, a guy named Taylor Sparks. Awesome producer, awesome guy, but he's more adept at the. So he created like drum loops and that little squawk box sound that was like producer created that we did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So for me, it was nylon string. I had a Strat going through the Vox and tons of backup vocals. Carlos and I blend awesome on that.
Now,
that's the secret.
That run, dun, dun,
Yeah.
that's the Strat. But what about that little lead thing that you do? Is that still the
that
Strat?
was also the Strat. Yeah.
Okay, and that with the
Neck
Vox.
pickup Vox. Yeah.
Vox.
Kind of overdriven.
But
yeah.
then there's some acoustic guitars in there.
Yeah, just to kind of have that strummy.
So what was that? Was that a 12-string?
No, I think that was my D28.
A D28. Okay. Now is there just one D20 or did you double it?
I think I doubled it. I didn't take the bourgeois because at that time Taylor's studio was in such a scary part of Los Angeles that I felt strange showing up with any guitar at all. but it
Because
sounded great.
it's a nice sound.
It
and,
is.
But the thing that's kind of cool, and to Taylor's credit,
Yeah.
there's a lot going on.
There's
That's
a
a
lot going
thick sound, but you can hear everything.
Right, and the contrast, the jump from the verse to the chorus is really fun when there's lush backup vocals come in, and this was very much Rob's vision. I have to give him a lot of credit for this song. He really had a clear vision of this kind of pop expression, and most of our stuff is kind of funky, kind of soulful rock, as he accurately, I think, depicts it. But this was a little bit of more of a pop turn. It was fun to do. It's cool.
Well, let me play the last clip that I have here, Good as Dead.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think there's if I remember correctly in the clip, it's basically a vocal song, so there's no lead in it, but there's some interesting. There was?
There's an insane solo in it. No. I mean, there is, but
I don't remember.
no, that's
Well, let me
okay.
play the clip and you tell me where I'm at, because I don't remember I don't remember one. But let's talk about the arrangement a little bit. Here is
Yeah.
Good as Dead.
Without you in my bed,
So I'm sorry to say that's not the final version of that song.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
So where's the lead?
All through that, from where you started playing it all the way to the end.
So there's a whole thing.
It's a massive guitar.
Okay.
That's my luck.
That's my first time hearing that. Ever
Yeah, that
also.
is not. That
Okay,
is
well,
not
that's
even
no,
remotely close to the final, because there's tons of backup vocals. So that was kind of, that must have been an MP3, like a working mix while we were recording it, and accidentally got sent to you instead of the final mastered version.
But that's okay. There was
It
some
is cool.
interesting things that were
Yeah,
going
and
on.
you hear the rhythm section.
Now that
more.
rhythm guitar, what was that about? What were you using there?
That we did. I used one of Steve's Strats for some of that, and that sounded, because we kind of wanted that little funky, that thing.
So what amp was that? Because it's kind of an interesting, dirty sound.
It is. It's one. I think I used one of his amps as well, and it even might have been a Bugera, because he does a lot of work with those folks as well, and it wasn't the Vox for that. We used one of his amps.
Okay, so that's doing that kind of funky rhythm.
Yeah.
And then what about those power chords?
That is the Gretsch through the Vox. That is more of a screaming, big tone, fat tone, overdriven amp.
Yeah, that's a really
Yeah,
nice
sounds
sign.
Good, yeah.
And it's interesting too, the fact that I don't have the lead in there. There's some really cool organ stuff that's going on there.
He's a great man. I'm so terrible at remembering. I'd only met the guy that day. He was a session player that does a lot of sessions with Steve Postel, but he'd played in Tears for Fears and stuff, like amazing guy. And these were all like live tracks.
And that's a full Hammond.
I know. I think it was a digital version.
Digital version, because it sounds good. I mean,
Sounds
he's getting
good.
that tone.
I agree.
It was
really
amazing,
good. I
and
think
he
it sounds
like
great.
slows it down and speeds.
Yes.
I was getting all of that
He's
cool
very
stuff.
good at that. Yeah, great keyboard player.
So anyway, we're we're already out of time.
What?
Can you believe that? What I want to do real quick is talk a little bit about what's going on and where the Rob Morrow band's playing, what's going on with that, and then also you're doing this trio thing with you, which is basically the rhythm section.
Yeah, and that's how we, Carlos and I, Carlos Costa, have been playing together for years. I think we first played together at Cantor's Kibitz Room, the deli. Yeah, we used to get paid in sandwiches there with this. We play with our buddy Jamie Thomas. He's a great songwriter, but not a terrific self-promoter. And we'd play these Wednesday 12:45 night gigs, and they give us
that's at night.
At night, yeah.
Not during the lunch rush.
And at the end, we'd get like a Reuben, which is fine. And then one day, like, they're like, "No, you don't get a sandwich. You didn't bring. Nobody came to see." Well, of course, we're playing Wednesday at 1 a.m. No one's coming to see it. So you can't say we haven't paid our dues, man.
Yes, no,
We've been denied sandwiches after a gig. Ouch.
musician abuse.
That one just hurt.
That's just uncalled for.
Yeah, so Carlos and I, and when I play my original stuff, Carlos is very much a part of that. Lucky for me, and so
You just need a drummer named Carlos, and then your
Man,
band
we're
could be
close.
Carlos.
We got another brother.
Yeah, we're trying to talk Alex into
It's
changing his
changing
name
his name,
legally. We'll be set.
Alex Gonzalez is a beast, and so the three of us are actually playing. If you guys are around Saturday night, 8:00 at the Universal Bar and Grill over on Lancashire, we're gonna do a set as a trio. It's gonna be fun. We usually rip it up pretty good for that sort of thing, right?
Yeah,
and
it'll be fun.
it'll be fun. It's a fun room to play. It's just live.
So you'll see that Gretsch, and you'll see that.
You will see the Gretsch and the Fender Tweed, and you'll see Carlos's Elite Fender. Isn't it interesting to see Fenders with binding on the neck? And you don't see those very much. Sorry,
they made them. It's just
style.
that they were the post CBS, and they weren't as popular. But actually, the binding is what Geddy Lee's bass, though it's black with the maple.
Looks good.
You use that.
This is
Now,
a-
are you going to be bringing your
Definitely.
SVT down?
No, I'll be using a very small Ampeg combo. Well, flip top. I'll be
Oh,
bringing
the
that.
B15?
Yeah.
No, not the B15. I can't afford that, unfortunately. But it's a PF800. It's a little.
PF800. Very cool.
It's a
If we
little
get paid,
Chinese
if we
version
got
of
more
it.
sandwiches, you could afford.
Yeah,
the
but that PF800, believe it or not, it's a cheap little amp, but it sounds like an Ampeg. So
Sounds
I
good.
really dig it. And it
Especially
doesn't weigh
when he
anything.
plays it.
How many watts is it?
800 watts.
Cool.
It's a tiny little.
Oh, my heart.
I
You
know.
still.
Yeah.
That's a lot of power.
That's a lot of power.
I've used it a few years ago. I played at the at one of the big state fairs out here in California, or the county fairs, Fresno, the big Fresno County Fair, and I used that just the PF 800 head with a 215 cap.
Well, Saturday, you have to
And it
make
was-
sure that you blow out the candles in the front row.
Yeah.
Watch this.
No, I won't turn it up for this kid.
Yeah.
But I have used it in a very large.
Yeah, no, 800
space.
watts,
It
you
was-
can handle
It
it.
was fine. Yeah.
So, no,
And
no,
we just
that,
did a great gig at Bogies with the Rob Morrow band. That went great. That's always a fun venue to play. You feel very spoiled playing on the stage.
when's the next gig
Like
for Rob
that.
Morrow?
Well, again, since his schedule got so complex, we're not exactly sure as to the next gig, but we do have a video debuting from the for Good Is Dead. He shot this video. It looks really pretty cool. Shot much of it outdoors in Malibu Creek State Park, which has a certain look right now after the fires, so it's very dramatic
Oh, that's cool.
backdrop. Yeah, it's really cool. I think you guys are gonna like it. It's coming out great. But otherwise, no. June 13th back at Bogies.
You'll be at Bogies on June 13th.
Right before.
And then fall will be the release. I'm anxious
I
to hear
believe
this
so.
album, the
Yeah.
rest of the cuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't wait to hear the finished versions of these.
Well, I'm going to have to look at the video so I can hear the lead.
You're right.
You can hear the lead on there. So, but thank you guys, both Carloses.
Thank you.
It's a
Yeah,
pleasure, and I hope to have you
anytime.
guys back again. And
We'll see you next week. And it's
you-
gonna be great.
and Rob, thank you so much for putting this together.
Never know.
Take us out with something from the album, upcoming from the album. Give us a sneak peek, though we won't have all the parts, but
Yeah. Let's do. You want to do a little bit of All You Do? Let's do the out chorus of All You Do.
and everybody, we will see you next week. Thank you so much. Oh, one before you start,
Yeah.
www.robmorrowband.com and carloscalvo.com. Do you have a webpage?
No, I don't.
Shame on you.
I
No,
know.
I'm just
Good.
no. Get one. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'll let you guys take it out.
Yeah,
Have a
this
good week.
one is called All You Do.